Now let's talk about what's really happening with Iraq's monetary reform. The process is intense. It's pushing forward with a lot of friction, resistance, and effort. But the important thing is that it's being put into position strategically. Everything is being aligned so that when the time comes, when the gates finally open, we could see things move very quickly, like a chain reaction. This would involve major contracts, global investors, and institutions all stepping into place to take advantage of this moment. When the opportunity hits, they'll be ready to act almost instantly. One of the big reasons this is such a sensitive and closely watched issue has to do with how the currency is being handled inside Iraq. According to Salah, the economic advisor to Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, about 90% of Iraq's money is not in the banking system. Instead, it's being held in people's homes. This is known as external leakage, money that has been issued by the central bank but is not circulating through the formal banking channels. That's a huge percentage, and it tells us something significant. People are holding onto their dinars for a reason. There's clearly a lack of trust in the system, but it could also suggest that people know or believe that a major financial shift is coming. As we wait for official confirmation and action, a lot depends on what happens regionally and internationally. Do the surrounding countries support Iraq's next steps? Is the global financial community on board? Does the Central Bank of Iraq have the green light from all necessary partners? These are the kinds of questions that matter right now. On the international front, there's been movement as well. Kurdistan region. Prime Minister Masroor Barzani recently met with U.S. Deputy Secretary of the Treasury Bradley Smith in Washington, D.C. They discussed financial reforms and the efforts to modernize the Kurdish region's economy, especially in terms of digital infrastructure. This tells us that Iraq, and Kurdistan in particular, is getting serious about transitioning from a paper-based, cash-heavy society to a digital, more transparent one. That kind of transformation doesn't just happen overnight. It requires buy-in from the public and support from international partners. And speaking of major shifts, the exchange rates for both the Iraqi Dinar, IQD, and the Vietnamese Dong, VND, have recently seen some unexpected fluctuations. This has sparked a lot of discussion and speculation, and it's something that affects real people in real ways. If you're an Iraqi citizen trying to buy imported goods, a weaker dinar means those goods cost more. If you're a Vietnamese business owner who depends on imported materials, a weaker dong means higher costs and potentially lower profits. These shifts can impact daily life in significant ways. Let's say you're a student studying abroad in Vietnam. You've carefully budgeted for your living expenses, but if the dong weakens, suddenly your money doesn't go as far. Or imagine you're a small business owner in Iraq who imports electronics or equipment from abroad. A drop in the dinar's value means you're paying more in local currency for the same products, and that can really hurt your bottom line. So why is this happening? Well, exchange rate movements are influenced by several factors: inflation, government policies, regional stability, and overall market sentiment. Vietnam, for example, has seen rapid economic growth in recent years, which typically strengthens its currency. But despite that growth, recent reports suggest the dong has weakened. It's a reminder that currency strength isn't just about economic performance. It also depends on investor confidence, trade balance, and political factors. How does this affect you directly? If you're planning to travel to Iraq or Vietnam, you'll want to monitor exchange rates carefully. Even small changes can mean you'll need to bring more money or adjust your travel budget. If you're sending money to friends or family in either country, the amount they receive might be less than expected due to shifting rates. Experts believe these changes may be temporary, and that the dinar and dong could stabilize over time. But it's essential to stay informed and be ready for sudden movements. One way to protect yourself is to use currency exchange apps or tools that give you real-time updates. That way, you can decide when it's best to exchange your money or make international payments. If you're considering any kind of investment involving these currencies, it's a good idea to speak with a financial advisor who understands the market conditions in the Middle East and Southeast Asia. Let's pause for a moment. Have you felt any impact from these currency changes in your everyday life? Maybe you've had to change your travel plans or found that a wire transfer didn't go as far as expected. Share your experiences in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective and see how these economic shifts are playing out in real-world situations. Now let's talk about a broader concept: transparency. In many industries, especially finance and technology, people refer to something called back screens. These are hidden processes or systems that most people don't see or understand. It creates a sense of mystery and, in some cases, distrust. But we're seeing a shift. People want more openness. They want to know how things work and be part of the process. This also applies to redemption centers, places where people can exchange rewards, vouchers, or even currencies. When these centers are hard to access or randomly closed, it creates confusion and frustration. Imagine saving up points or preparing for a redemption only to find that the place is inaccessible. It's important that companies and governments make these systems fair, reliable, and easy to use. Another issue is the idea of special or alternative rates being offered to a select few. In some circles, these are whispered about as exclusive deals or elite access. While loyalty programs and rewards can be great, they can also alienate new or less connected people. If only a handful of people benefit, the system starts to feel unfair. Every customer and citizen should feel valued, not just a privileged group. So what can we do about all of this? First, we need to stay informed. When you understand how systems work, whether it's a currency exchange, an investment process, or a government reform, you can make smarter decisions. Second, don't be afraid to speak up. If something doesn't seem right, say so. Transparency only improves when people demand it. Third, support businesses and institutions that prioritize fairness and accessibility. Where you choose to spend your money matters. Finally, stay calm. Change can be uncomfortable, but it's often necessary for progress. Take a breath, stay grounded, and trust that these transitions can lead to better outcomes in the long run. As we wrap up today's video, remember that currency exchange isn't just a financial topic. It's something that touches our lives in very practical ways. The recent changes in the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong are worth watching closely, especially if you're traveling, investing, or sending money internationally. Staying informed and prepared is your best defense in an unpredictable financial landscape. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss future updates. See you in the next video.